Welcome to another segment of Word of the Day. My name is Caesar and this is Inspire a Movement. Today we're going to be looking at the word trust, which means to have a firm belief in the character, the strength, or the truth of something or someone. Now, life is very unpredictable. It's full of ups and downs, and trusting in something bigger, mightier than yourself is very difficult to do when things are tough. It's so much easier to do that when things are going super well. But nevertheless, trust is having that belief in and that obedience to that higher power, predominantly when things are going really tough. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't emote, that you don't allow yourself to feel stress, anxiety, frustration when things are going bad. It just means that you still lean into that faith, to that trust in that higher power while in the midst of all this chaos in your life, and you trust that things are going to be better over time, that somehow out of this mess something beautiful is going to come out and you're going to be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Essentially, that is what trust is. Now, somebody like myself who can self-identify as very controlling, as more obsessive-compulsive in nature, trusting is very difficult and has been very difficult for me throughout most of my life. I can think of very recently an experience overseas. Well, my wife and I were actually doing our first retreat in Costa Rica in the midst of some logistical issues that weren't going perfectly well. Having to trust that, one, the mission and the purpose of what she and I are actually living into is worth it, that things are going to somehow work out and manifest in such a way where that mission and purpose are going to be validated and authenticated. And by every measure, they were. We had a beautiful first retreat, and that's just one simple example that I can think of in which we started out a journey not really knowing how things were going to work out. We trusted and ultimately were benefited with a beautiful experience, and our trust was able to allow us to get there. But it is difficult. It's very difficult to navigate turbulent waters and not feel like like you're weak and maybe that trust has been somewhat hindered or fractured in some way. I think if you believe in God or a higher power or a higher consciousness, God knows that. He knows that you're going to have waning trust and that there will be periods of darkness in your life where you don't really feel very connected. You don't really feel very trusting. But I think the most that we can do is habituate our lives around things like gratitude, joy, happiness, thankfulness when things are good, so that we have a carryover when things are not so good. And those same sort of habits and rituals that we built around our trust in God and that higher power will carry us through, and God always prevails. I think it's difficult to accept the difficult times. We're not very accepting as human beings, but it's something that we have to lean on, is just accept things for how they are, and lean on our faith and our trust in God to see us through things that we don't comprehend nor understand. At least those are some of the reflections or connections that I can make as I think of this very powerful word, trust, which is so very important in order to arrive into some form of internal peace, which ultimately is what we want, is to live in peace and release our control of things that we really don't have control over. The only thing that we can control is ideally our thoughts and that faith and that trust in God and that higher power to carry us and uplift us when we need it, particularly during those darker or more turbulent times. I hope these connections are meaningful to you in some way. They're done with a lot of love and respect. I wish you the best for the remainder of this week, and thank you so much for connecting with us and supporting us in everything that we do, because ultimately that's what you do with your patronage and your following. Thank you so much and have a blessed week. Thank you.